You have
Welcome
the
back.
Oh, yeah. What? Oh,
Yeah.
we're
What's
back.
up, guys? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're
yeah.
live.
So we're live. All right. You have welcome back to First Draft. Sorry, we're just doing mic checks.
Hey.
Good to see everybody again. We have, what are we doing today? We got AIO. We got a funny one and kind
talk
of a
about
interesting
conspiracy
and
theories.
conspiracy theories is something that it's kind of been on our minds. So
Been kind of pitching it back and forth amongst each other. So
yeah, it was kind of an informal discussion we had right before this shoot and for many years, just in various forms. And we just realized we've never discussed it on the podcast. So yeah, we're gonna just share this with you guys. This kind of our kind of thoughts on that behind the scenes. So Fred, you want to kick us off with the?
Do you want to read it? Or do you
no,
want me to read
I
it?
think she's gonna read
Oh,
it.
do you have it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay,
Please.
so this is the AIO, or Am I Overreacting, on Reddit.
This is such a funny one.
This can't be.
The title is I Kicked My Cousin Out of My Birthday Because She Brought Her Emotional Support Chicken. Am I overreacting? So this happened last week, and I still don't know if it was actually crazy or if everyone around me has lost the plot. I had a small birthday get together at my place, just close friends and cousins, nothing dramatic. I cleaned, set everything up, but put snacks out, played music, normal. My cousin walks in holding a chicken, like a real life chicken, in a tiny harness, just casually tucked under her arm like it's a purse. Everyone goes quiet because we genuinely thought she was joking, but she looks at us and goes, "Please don't stare at her. She gets anxious. She's my emotional support animal."
This can't be real.
No warning, no heads up, nothing. I tried to stay normal about it, but the chicken immediately starts wandering around my living room like it owns the place. It hops into my couch. My dog sees it and just loses his mind, barking, chasing, freaking out, which makes the chicken freak out, which makes my cousin freak out. And now the chicken is running around flapping its wings. My dog is dragging a throw blanket across the room. One of my friends drops an entire bowl of chips. Someone else screams and my cousin is yelling, "You're all stressing her out. Stop." Okay, the chicken somehow ends up in my bedroom, knocks over my diffuser, and starts stomping around my rug like it's protesting. I finally told my cousin as calmly as I could, "Listen, you can stay, but the chicken can't be inside. Please take it outside or back home." She looks at me like I just insulted her entire bloodline and goes, "Wow, you're so discriminating against mental health needs now."
Wow. That's a stretch.
I'm literally standing there watching feathers float around my room while she says this. She refuses to put the chicken outside, refuses to hold it, refuses to calm down, refuses to do anything except say I'm being ableist. So I told her if the chicken isn't leaving, then she has to go with it. She stormed out crying, yelling that I embarrassed her in front of everyone. Now my aunt is blowing up my phone saying I ruined the trust my cousin had in the family and that it was just a bird. Meanwhile, my house looks like a farm exploded inside it. So yeah, was I overreacting for kicking her out, or is bringing a chicken to someone's birthday just objectively insane?
All right, this is.
Who wants to kick it off?
It's
Yeah,
insane.
that's an incredible tale. This can't be real, but
I was gonna say, is this somebody I'm almost wondering if somebody's trolling.
I believe it's real. I do believe it's real.
I mean, people probably do some version of this.
Well, let's just assume it's real.
Yeah, let's assume it's real.
Yeah.
I mean, this whoever this girl is who invited, I mean, she's not overreacting at all. And I mean, this kind of stuff should have, I don't know, zero tolerance for in a proper society. Like you're bringing in farm animals to people's birthdays and claiming that you have because you have a doctor's note, basically, like that's totally allowed. I mean, this is,
they didn't say a doctor's note.
well, emotional support animals, you have to have documented.
No, you don't.
I think he's
not
talking
a
about
public
in the legal
establishment.
civil sense.
I am in a civil
yeah,
sense.
I don't think
Yeah.
she got a doctor's note for
No,
this
she never
chicken.
had to. The chicken lady never had to produce that.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's
Usually it's for a dog though.
Well, I think
could be a
I
dog
don't even
or
know.
it
Is,
could be
you
for
could be a
any.
dog
It
or
could
a
be for
cat.
any
yeah,
animal.
but for a chicken, I don't think
I don't know. We'd have to look that up.
I mean, this is a variation of this. I've seen stories of where people bring
dogs and
in
cats, for
these
sure.
kind
Yeah.
of insane animals on like airplanes, and
I don't even know if you have to have a doctor's note for an emotional support dog. It's for a physical, like
For an apartment lease for rental, just from my industry. Like 90% of
I think you
apartment
can buy
complexes.
those. I think you can buy them online, like
Well, I mean,
emotional support
Now
certificate
you're,
or something.
No,
no,
you
now,
have to
now you're
get-
like getting into the conspiracy. No,
I think the true legal ones are the physical ones, like people that have
Right.
seizures, people that like may have a pace. I don't know. I'm just saying an example, but emotional support, I'm not like so sure
could be from-
exactly how it works.
it could be for mental health, like vets and stuff like that, like
Yeah.
aren't like military veterans that have
Okay.
PTSD.
Yes, for stuff like that.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's as like prescribed. It's as widely prescribed as the people that are flaunting their emotional support animals with emotional support tags, because you can buy that stuff. Like that's all.
I see what you're saying.
But
know
he
what
was
I'm
talking
saying?
about in the legal civil sense, and I gave my example of like, for apartment leases, they make you produce an actual physical copy if they don't allow pets there,
Okay.
and also
And they
to
don't
get
they can't
and,
charge you
and to
either.
get discounts to
Yeah.
not be charged. Yeah.
Like the Airbnb, like you have to allow, even if you don't allow, you have an Airbnb, you
Right.
have to allow.
An ESA.
Yes.
Yeah, in ESA. Yeah, they this is
I didn't know that. That's wild.
Well, yeah, it's otherwise you're discriminating. But
Right.
but at the same time, like I would have to look more into that. I just think that a lot of people can just purchase emotional support paperwork.
well, no,
I'm not
you
talking
can,
about vets and people like who are truly have PTSD and you want them to have an emotional support animal, because otherwise they might like go ham and cheese on you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like you can have your dog, you can have your cat. Just stay calm, you know?
How does you go ahead, Chris? Sorry.
well, I wanted to get into something more interesting about how this works, because I've looked into this. This is kind of related to the AIO we did the previous episode, because fundamentally and philosophically you have what do the libertarians call it? Not a rights issue. Basically where someone's rights infringe on someone else's rights, and you have to choose one or the other, like who takes precedence. And I've looked into this. It's actually pretty wild. With an emotional support animal, you can, even if you have, let's say you have an allergy to the specific animal, their rights still trump yours.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes. So let's say you have a roommate or a friend or something like that, or you have, let's say you own a private business and they come in with, let's say you're allergic to chickens, and they bring their chicken in there and you have an allergy to them. Their legal rights trump your legal rights in these
Makes
instances.
sense. If it's truly a medical
And-
thing, yeah, I can see where
And
that would.
what's even more messed up is if you have a phobia for these animals. Like, let's say you have a phobia of animals. That
Oh,
some of
a
these
lot of
animals can
people
be
do of dogs.
of dogs, something
That's a
like
big
that.
phobia for some
Their
people.
emotional support needs trump your mental health needs. So their mental health trumps your mental health, which I found really interesting, because how do you quantify any of that, and how would you even take that to court? Or
I mean,
argue
you
for
would.
your
I mean, to
case?
argue that you would
Yeah.
definitely have to produce documentation and health
Yeah.
records at that point
That you
from
have
both sides.
yeah.
It couldn't just be something that you got and just attributed that title to on your own. I think this related to our last.
Sorry.
No, you're
the
good.
American with Disability Acts,
Oh, the ADA.
It's covered
Yeah.
under that.
I think
Yeah.
so, and it seems like that documentation would trump I have anxiety, and maybe legally,
Possibly.
you know.
Possibly.
Yeah. It brings up interesting. Just, I didn't know that there were hierarchies of medical and mental health needs that trump other. It's kind of interesting. I always thought they were all not equal. I mean,
Well, mental health is medical, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I meant physical and mental. I guess. Yeah. But it's interesting.
But I don't think the chicken, like, no one's approving, like, I don't think you can produce paperwork for a chicken. I just don't. I would be
I don't know. We have to dig
shocked.
into it.
Yeah.
I'd be shocked. Regardless, the AIO, is she overreacting? No, I don't think she's overreacting.
I don't think so at all.
I think
No.
that I do the only part where I thought she was overreacting is one sentence. She said, "My house looks like a farm exploded" or something, and it's like, okay, that I feel
Probably
like
just being hyperbolic though.
I
at
feel
that
like
point.
she's being hyperbolic there, but with everything else, no, she has a right not to want. Like chickens do carry mites and stuff. Like,
Well-
and you can't get rid of them. I don't think. Even I mean, you may be able to, but like chickens are not like the cleanest creatures. They carry bird mites.
Well,
That
and
can
the-
be dangerous and can like blind some people. Like, yeah,
Sure. And the other thing is what you were saying, it's kind of related to our last episode or our last AIO. She brought that animal to somebody else's personal space. It would be a completely different dynamic
Yeah.
if if the poster went to the cousin's house and had a problem with her having.
Of course. Yeah.
I think there are some rights when you invite somebody to your house. I don't think she could bring up a legal problem for her not wanting her ESA there.
no, I don't think that chicken is an ESA, Fred, and I don't think that we're talking about.
We're just saying
legally.
we're just hypothetically saying.
But I don't think it's legal. It's just, am I overreacting?
I get that. I'm just
No.
saying that philosophically, I think there should be a respect for another person's space. If
Yeah.
you're a visitor, like that's just common courtesy and common, like at least notify me and ask me if it's
Yeah.
okay. Like
Yeah.
I just feel like her cousin was overreacting, is what I think.
So this,
Especially,
Oh, for sure.
Her
Cousin was for sure
and I
overreacting.
don't mean in the way of her needing a chicken. That's not the most ironic part. It's the fact that she thought it was okay unexpectedly to bring that and not expect some form of negative reaction.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that gets violated, what about other people or the other person that has animals as well?
Yeah.
That could be a hazard to the
there was
ESA
there was
and
a
the
dog involved in this.
and the dog. Like
Yeah, it's
you could cause a
very
catastrophe. Like
It's really inconsiderate for her to have done what
Yeah.
she did. And I think that she thought it was going to be really cute or something. That's why she was so shocked. Because in her mind, like, you're only going to be so shocked if you are totally like, where's your brain at? Like, go
Right.
pick up your brain, put it inside your head, and then let's start the day over. Because, like, a person that is, like, truly considering, like, this would not have brought that chicken over.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Plus, she
Like,
made the stretch to say that you're discriminating against mental health just because I don't want this chicken in my house.
that's manipulative.
That's crazy.
that's emotional
crazy.
blackmail.
Yeah, that's
This,
crazy.
This brings up
That person
yeah.
needs to grow up.
This brings up, I think it's an economic principle, or I mean, maybe it's a philosophical principle. Have you all ever heard of the tyranny of the minority?
No, what is
No,
that?
what is that?
It's kind of similar to, have you heard of the problem of the commons?
Yeah, I think
don't
me
know
and
if I
you
have.
have discussed
Maybe
that.
we've discussed that. So the tyranny of the minority is kind of similar. It's where the minority basically tyrannizes the majority. So that would be the lady with the ESA,
Would be the minority.
chicken would be the minority, and she's making everyone else at this establishment capitulate to
But
her.
let's not call it ESA because that's a legal term. Like with this
Emotional
supposedly
support.
emotional,
The
with
poster
this,
said
Whatever.
it.
with this
Whatever.
emotional support.
We're just
chicken.
assuming that she has legal
Yeah, we're
documentation. I don't know.
hypothetically-
No, we're not
acknowledging.
assuming she has legal document. That would change everything.
We're assuming this whole story is real.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if she has legal document, then like
That's, I mean,
it wouldn't change anything because she still shouldn't. But it's not. It's
Right, I'm talking-
It's a fake thing that she brought over, and that's what makes it even more crazy that she made like she's.
But
If she
Blanca,
needs
yes, it's
a
gonna
true
be-
emotional support animal, go to doctor, get a freaking dog or a cat or whatever.
You can-
But like she made this up.
And you
There's
can get birds. There's other animals you can get.
Okay,
It's
well,
not restricted
regardless,
to
yeah,
not-
just cats and
it's not,
dogs.
It's not
restricted to just cats and dogs.
Yeah.
You can get emotional support. I mean, a chicken is crazy. I've never heard of that, but I've definitely seen stories of people who have emotional support hamsters and to take them on planes and
Yeah, guinea
peacocks.
pigs
I've seen-
I
or-
don't think a doctor prescribed that.
I think I've even
Am
heard
I
of
wrong?
a
Am I wrong about that?
well, it's not. They're not doctors. They're
Psychiatrists. But are
psychiatrists,
they
yeah.
but who cares? They're MDs. Are they prescribing hamsters?
I don't think so. I don't think.
For
I
chickens?
think where you're maybe, and I need to educate. We can look this up, but I don't want to get too far in the
No,
weeds on this
yeah.
topic. I think the actual prescription is just that you need an ESA. The
Yes.
prescription doesn't necessarily validate what kind of animal you get.
Yeah.
That's going to be based upon your own personal situation. Because I think I've either come across it on social media, I'm not saying it's true, that somebody had a horse as an ESA.
So if somebody brings a horse to the Airbnb, I have to say okay, or a chicken.
No, I think
a
there's
dirty
limitations
chicken?
based
but
on
if
the
it's an
property
ESA,
rule.
you can't, according to Airbnb. That's why I want to know, like, is a chicken an emotional?
We can look that up afterwards.
Yeah, we'll look it up.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't think it really matters anyways, because there's no, the way these things are prescribed, there's no limiting principle. That's the nature of, and this is another conversation, I don't even know. We don't
About
have time to get into.
psychiatry and stuff.
Yeah, about the
Yeah.
nature of the whole entire field. There's no reason why you couldn't prescribe someone that. So even if it's not a thing now, that could there's all it takes is a
could
court
become a
case in the
thing,
future
yeah.
for that to be a thing. And so it doesn't really matter.
But the tyranny of the minority.
Yes, that's what I was trying to say, is that, and you see different versions of this. It crops up. This is why, for instance, so when I bartend sometimes, right? I will have so I'm a scarce resource because there's only one of me and I have X amount of people I have to take care of.
Right.
All it takes is someone with an allergy to basically crash the whole bar. And all it is the tyranny of that person that they impose on everyone else, because now I can't get to everyone else at the bar. I have to
What do you mean
sacrifice.
crash the whole bar? What do you mean by
He's
that?
saying for
Because
somebody to have an anaphylactic attack or something.
No. For someone who
Yeah,
has,
I didn't get what you meant by crash the whole bar.
because all it takes is for someone with a
Wheat, rye allergy.
a sensitivity or something, because the bar's high volume, it's fast moving.
Right.
That's not really the place you come to if you have allergies. You need, but people go up there and they will say, I've got these special sensitivities.
I need this, but not that. This, but not that.
And it's like, we can accommodate that, but this is not, the bar's not the right place to do that at.
Okay.
And also, and I'm like, we'll accommodate it, but
see what you're saying.
you're using all my resources I have that I'm
focusing
supposed to.
on them for an inordinate
Yeah.
amount of time compared to the other
That
people
makes
because of their allergies.
It's the problem of the
That makes
commons.
sense.
It's the tyranny of the minority. That's what this person with the ESA is doing. She's bringing this and imposing this on the entire party.
Entire group.
Yeah.
Which is
And
crazy.
everyone else has to just kind of deal with it and suffer while she gets everything she wants. So that's and you see this, I mean, there's all different variations of this, but yeah, that's what I wanted to say about it.
I think it's telling. Thank you for. I didn't know about
like
the
that.
tyranny. Thank you for
Yeah.
letting me know about it. I think it's telling that the mom called and said she didn't mean anything by it. It's like, well, your entitlement comes from that, like thinking that you're in first place and you're the most important thing. Because her mom should have been like, why would you have done that? But
Exactly.
instead, she's calling the cousin and being like,
Yeah,
she's so gaslighting her, like she's lost trust in the family, and like she took it so
That's
deep.
insane.
Like she didn't just call her to say, why can't you have just let the whatever, that would have been wrong anyway. But then
Right.
she said she's talking about trust and things that like once you break are hard to like
Yeah.
regain. It just seems crazy.
Yeah, and then how far is your right to have autonomy over your own space? There is a right to that. Airbnb is different because that's a business and that falls under the rules and regulations.
Yeah,
But
of
your
a
own
business.
personal apartment or house or whatever the case may be, you do have the right to impose some restriction on what you allow into your house. I mean, you can impose a restriction on a human being that comes into your house, much less an animal. And I don't think in the context of what her cousin was doing, which was having a birthday party, which was a social event, which involved multiple people, which also she already has an animal there.
Which was her birthday party.
Right. Like
this is about her, not you.
Where
and
is
your stupid chicken?
Where's the cousin not recognizing the rights of not only her family but the hoster of the event and the party?
Yeah, and now we're sitting here having a conversation about like a crazy person.
Yeah.
She's a crazy person. I mean, not like truly an insane asylum person, but she's like
It could be
she's
attention-seeking
she needs to
behavior
She needs to
too,
grow
like-
up, really.
Yeah, I would love to know the age of the person.
Yeah, but even then, unless you're like 10 years old, like even if you're 16, like that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's even if you're 12. If you're 12 and you think that's okay, like that's
But that would make more sense.
it would make more sense. Yeah.
Well,
But if by 12 you're not like realizing some things are not okay in society, like I'm concerned about you.
well, yeah. I
Well,
do want to get on to the next segment because we are pressed for time today, folks. So let's wrap this one up. And y'all
sounds
cool
good
with
to me.
that?
Yeah,
You have
that's
closing
good.
thoughts?
Nice, funny topic.
Yeah, yeah. All right.
We thought
Yeah.
we'd keep it light today, folks.
Yeah. Next one is conspiracy theories, and we're pressed for time, but we're gonna try and run through
Okay,
it.
let's
So
go.
let's
do
take a quick 3-minute break and come back.
We'll be back.
All right. Hey, welcome back, guys.
Yes.
Like I said, we're a little pressed for time, but we're gonna breeze through this conspiracy theory topic. So this has been, I'll give you a little context, a little backdrop. This is a conversation we had before the shoot.
It's a conversation we have in general.
We have in
from time to
general
time.
because this stuff comes up, and if you're in certain online circles, you probably see a lot of it nowadays, which is how we started talking about it today. I don't know what I can and can't say for demonetization purposes and getting banned,
It's all
but
right.
we're just going to make this conversation real
We're
general.
not monetized
And
anyway.
that's right, not yet. So, but yeah, we're just going to talk generally about conspiracy theories. There's been, let's actually, can we pull up a definition? It's a kind of a newer term. Can we pull up a definition, Calvin? Because I think this term came about in the 60s. That way we can get a little bit
To
of backdrop.
conspire.
Yeah,
To
but it's
plot against.
yeah, but it has a
To
specific.
be involved.
Yeah, I mean,
To
conspire.
devise a plan or to devise a scheme.
Well,
Yeah, that's just conspiring. But there's conspiracy theory has like its own. It's that and much more too. And
it does take more than one person to be a true
Yeah.
conspiracy.
of course you have to have at least
Yeah,
two
for
to
sure.
conspire.
A belief that some influential or controlling organization or group is secretly responsible for a notable event or phenomenon.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this would include your, I mean, gosh, UFOs, JFK assassination, 9/11. The one I know you like to bring up, which was confirmed. I don't know if I'd call it a conspiracy theory, but it would fall under that.
I mean,
it
some
would fall under the
conspiracies
rubric.
can be
What, the
is
Iran
real.
Contra thing?
Iran Contra.
Yeah. That's one pretty.
I'm trying to think. There's a bunch of them, but we wanted to just discuss them in general because a lot of people do think, and I think there's good basis for this. I'm sorry. I understand why a lot of people really subscribe to them because our institutions are so distrustful. Like I can't trust them, and I don't think they're telling us the whole story.
They can seem strong-armed, like there can be strong-arming people, and people don't like
Yeah.
that, and there's a way to fight back.
Yes, and yeah, it's maybe that's actually a good point. I didn't that maybe the little power or the power that the little person thinks he has is to disrupt their narrative or something like that,
It could be that.
which I understand. Yeah, I'm gonna kick it over to you guys, and then there's something I want to say about this. So, what do you guys think about it?
I mean, let me see. To start, I think that I said earlier when we were talking off camera, conspiracy theories have a way of infiltrating a person's mind and then installing itself like mold and rotting their brain.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
saying it's not good to be, a critical thinker and not just accept, ideas and narratives. It's good to just, be thoughtful about things. But when every single thing that you hear, if it comes from power or authority or something, if everything you look at it through a lens of like conspiracy, then I think that there may be a problem. And I think conspiracy theories have a way of like starting out noble, and fighting back against certain
And
things,
discovering the truth or
and but then instead
being a
of
fact finder.
yeah, but then it becomes like the premise of the argument is no longer trying to find the truth. It's like, this is the truth, and now I'm gonna prove it. And it's like, when did you decide it was the truth? Like, we're not even gonna look into it. No,
We're not going to
yeah.
investigate. We're
But,
not.
but a lot of conspiracy theorists would say they are investigating by doing what they do, but they're just confirming, really. Like, I don't think there's an open-mindedness when it comes to people who are like conspiracy theorists. I have one example. I have a friend that is like really about, well, the earth is flat, and then they wanted
Oh my
to
God, I forgot about that
then
one.
they
You didn't
wanted
even
to
mention
talk
that one.
about
I forgot
God
about it.
and Christ and all of that. And I was like, look, at the end of the day, why like they were referencing scripture, like God set the foundations on the pillars on the four corners, that means the earth is flat. And I was like, at the end of the day, like that's such a tertiary matter, not even tertiary, like a 10th matter biblically. Why does it matter? Why does it matter if the earth is flat or round? How does that
point.
change God? How does that change
doesn't.
Jesus? How does it, like, what are you doing? You're so focused on this little thing that it's like,
Geometry.
tell me why it matters.
I think sometimes people want to focus on that because they feel like a select group and like they have the actual version of
Hidden
the
knowledge.
truth.
Oh, that, yeah.
Like it's some form of esoteric pursuit.
that's a good
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. For like
Yeah.
a forbidden knowledge that they have or they've discovered or
Yeah,
they
and
see
I-
that we don't see.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times, I guess my take on it is sometimes people have personal misfortunes. And so instead of looking at it as either a circumstantial event or maybe something that was within their control, maybe they made an error, maybe they made a mistake, maybe it was just completely random, then all of a sudden it's a conspiracy behind it. And that's where I think it gets problematic, I would say, or maybe harmful to society,
sure.
maybe a net negative, like if a bunch of people start subscribing to that ideology.
If they're acting on it, yeah, that's real bad, I think.
Right.
And not that
Yeah.
some, like we were saying, not that some conspiracies can't turn out to like be true things that
Facts.
were like
Facts.
groups conspiring. Like I'm not saying that, but when every single thing starts from a place of like this is against us or this is a conspiracy, then so I was talking to someone yesterday.
The flat earther thing just
I was talking
cracks me
to
up.
my AC guy, and he started talking, and yeah, he's either on Molly's or schizophrenic. But basically, he seemed very his stuff, like what he was saying, because they produce the same result. So his conversation was reminiscent of a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
I was like, to the point, because I've watched so many videos and read so many things, I was like, so are
Without
you
getting
telling
too
me
deep-
you're saying you're a targeted individual? And he was like, yes. How did you know about
Oh,
that?
that's
And I was
funny.
like, are you? And I was like, no, I'm not. I'm not even saying I
You're
believe
just
in
poking
that.
the bear at that point just to see what you
Well,
could get out of
I
him.
just didn't know. He was like, and then he really went full on. And then like after 10 minutes, he's like, I'm going to stop because you're going to think I'm crazy. And I was thinking,
I already do.
but I wasn't. Like, I was gracious, and it did make me really sad for this person because I know this person, not super well, but I know this person because he's done a lot of work for me, and he wasn't like this 3 years ago, and he's gotten worse. I do think his might be either like something drug related or something's going on that like that was already there. But the thing is that like all this, to bring it back to the conspiracy, there comes a point where it does look, I'm not saying you're crazy like Candace was. I'm not saying that at all. Like she has a wonderful brain. She has a beautiful mind. I'm just saying that it can make you look like you're crazy and like,
Or at the very least, just reaching for something that's not there and
all
constructing
your
something from
time
a
is, like,
framework. Right.
and then you start seeing
That doesn't
connections
exist.
that
Right.
like we
So-
can make connections about anything. Like aren't we all separated like 6 degrees of separation? Like
I mean,
all of us
yeah.
could connect to each other. If you want to find connections like that are lines to back to me to you somehow, and we're family and we're cousins, like turns out like you can find anything. But yeah, if
A true conspiracy to me is like something provable. Like, and this is it's not even anything that's controversial, but like in my neighborhood before Topgolf got built, there were a bunch of neighbors that got together and conspired to try to not allow them to
but that's
build
not a
here.
conspiracy theory.
That's not a conspircy
It's not a
theory, though.
conspiracy theory,
like
but I'm
just
saying
people
it's just
conspiring.
being
I was
people
defining
conspiring.
Yeah, but
And so
that's some, yeah.
I think that, but like
But I
you,
see what
like
you're
me and you,
saying.
but I feel like what me and you talked about, in order for a conspiracy to actually be existent, it's usually more than two people. Everybody has to
Yeah.
adhere to the
I'd agree with
conspiracy.
that, yeah.
Like
More than
another
one
example I
person.
have is sports. There's a huge thing about the NFL being rigged. Like some people have said, I've stopped watching. I mean, like actual rational people, not like
Mm-hmm.
the tinfoil hat like crowd, but there are
Yeah.
people that are like,
No, yeah,
oh,
it's a lot of people.
it's rigged and there's a script.
It makes
I mean,
you feel like you're missing something.
the
Like,
NFL
what did
even
I
made
miss?
a commercial.
Everyone-
The NFL made a commercial like making fun of the
Oh,
script. It was
really?
hilarious. It was so
That's
good.
funny.
But yeah, like I think that's where it gets, like I said, problematic, because now you're starting to distort reality by claiming you have the
Sure.
real truth. And that's
Yeah.
where I guess it gets on my nerves. And in the online world, people create content and create a following and actually profitably capitalize on this stuff. And I
Yeah.
think that that's a huge problem, because you're presenting this stuff as like actual factual knowledge when
It's
there's no
factual,
basis.
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, the way you're speaking about it is so strong that you could say, well, I'm not saying it's a fact, but
It's
you
insinuation.
frame it that
it's
way,
framed.
where it could be
Exactly.
So-
people that aren't like being
Yeah.
discerning fully and are just listening to it while they're cleaning their kitchen or whatever. And your
Exactly.
mind is on like everyday things, and that you could be like, oh gosh, I've missed this, and now like, okay, so this is the thing, like this is what's going on.
If you'll allow me, I wanted to introduce some more technical language that
Yeah.
these
Sure.
are characteristics I found
Okay.
of conspiracy theorist thinkers. It seems like it comes from a place of, I'm sure you've heard of the debate between skepticism and dogmatism.
I've heard of that.
So I think this is what happens when you venture into extreme skepticism. I've noticed that's a kind of a quality of these beliefs, or the people who believe in them. They're very, very skeptical, which I understand to a certain degree, but you don't, at some point, it's almost like a horseshoe theory. Like at some point it becomes dogmatism back again. It's weird.
Yeah, I feel like it's almost
said-
rooted in dogmatism, though, and like their skepticism,
Yeah, but it's-
like confirms their dogma.
Yes, that's maybe.
Well, yeah, it's like
it's
confirmation
you
bias at that point.
So that's the
Yeah.
other technical word I wanted to bring up, because you mentioned that earlier before the shoot. You'll notice there's a lot of, and this is just, I guess you could call this how to identify a conspiracy theorist or something like that.
Yeah.
The confirmation bias. So every piece of information, every data point you see fits into the story, the narrative you've crafted. This does create cognitive distortions as well, because there's like gaslighting involved. There's like a bunch of, the confirmation bias is its own cognitive distortions. There's others I can't think of right now, but I mean, that's a general term, cognitive distortions. I wanted to put forth an alternative to conspiracy theories for you all that I found pretty compelling. And this was first theorized by Curtis Yarvin, who was J.D. Vance's mentor. And one of the YouTubers I follow, Mentis Wave, he actually does a nice podcast on this, explaining it. But Curtis Yarvin, he was trying to figure out why it seems like, he said conspiracy theory is not the right word for it, but there is something kind of meta or mega maybe going on that captivates people. I know I'm being really vague here. I'll explain. He calls it the cathedral.
Okay.
So what he calls it is decentralized collusion, whereas a conspiracy theory would be centralized collusion, where it's explicitly planned. He puts forth, and this is actually compelling, like I said, a decentralized collusion. What you have is this giant apparatus. I can't remember his name online, Wesley Yang maybe. He calls it the vertically integrated messaging apparatus, the VIMA. Basically, you have everyone's interests align, but they're not actually colluding. So this is why you would see.
Oh, I get
with
what you're
both-
saying.
Right, because and he calls it, Curtis Yarvin calls it the cathedral, because that's how you have this same set of beliefs that get put onto the public. And it's like everywhere you look, it's like, well, the media is telling you that, and the politicians, they're not calling each other and telling, are people from the DNC or the
They just have a
RNC
similar
calling?
goal, and they're both working towards
Right.
that goal, whatever that may
Exactly.
be.
And the reason
doesn't necessarily mean they're
Yeah.
conspiring and talking behind closed doors and having secret meetings and purposely have the downfall of a specific
Right.
sector or group
Yes.
as a part of whatever result they're seeking.
Exactly. It's decentralized. It's
that.
not explicitly said to anybody,
Yeah.
even though sometimes it is. Sometimes, some emails get uncovered or whatever, but I think that's really petty, really small potatoes. The thing, and why I think all these people's interests align, is because they all come from the same institutions. So this goes back to episode 6 that we talked about, the rise of anti-intellectualism. This all comes back to the university, where all these people go there and they download, they get programmed,
Wait, but,
they
but
download
But not every
beliefs into their brain.
conspiracy, but not every
No.
conspiracy theorist is like college educated.
No, I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about conspiracy theorists. I'm talking about the people who, like, remember, I'm putting forth a different alternative explanation for why it does seem like everything is a conspiracy. I think it's just because people's interests align because they're all educated in the same place. They all go there. They all go to institutions, and they all get taught the same beliefs, and then they go to elite other institutions, whether that's media or politics or business, and they take those beliefs with them. And then you'll turn on the news, and they're
I'm
all
glad
having
you
a
said
panel
that.
together.
Yeah.
It's like, then they all know each other, and they all believe the same thing, and it's like,
Oh, you're saying the people that are being included in a part of a particular conspiracy, like
That
they
is-
went they went
Yeah.
to similar institutions or got.
Right.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. That
This
makes
leads
sense
to
to me.
something that I wanted
That
to
makes sense
say.
to me.
I'm not talking about secret societies.
No.
Not
No.
skulls.
Right,
but
right,
just,
right.
There
just
is
you're educated at Ivy
something
Leagues.
spiritual though. Like there are forces that, like, I believe there are forces that rule the world, and those forces have an effect on our minds and our, like, educational system and on things like that. So I can see where conspiracy theorists want to fight back against things that they consider are, for example, like unholy, for example, or just against tradition. And it's not like that they're wrong. It's just the way that you can be so gun-ho and go about it so hard that then you get wrapped up in a whole nother set of, like, the same opposite thing that you're fighting against,
Right.
you know, and then you're stuck in this thing. But I have one thing to say.
And sometimes I think,
One other
even
thing.
in addition to what you all both said, sometimes it is more of people working together because of a certain background or overriding force. For example, when I worked with my other brother before medical cannabis became legal here, you know, Kentucky was one of the last states to even
Adopt that.
not only just adopt it, but to even entertain adopting it. Like, there was a pushback. And what we came to find out, even though it was originally proposed to us as a conspiracy, was that Kentucky, because before medical cannabis became legal, hemp became legal. Well, there were a lot of politicians that either had family or interest in hemp production.
Yeah.
And so in order for them to legalize medical cannabis, they would either have to switch industries, convert their land, or catch up to be able to be in the trajectory of producing it. And so they did not know how to write the laws so that it wouldn't interfere or hurt the people that were already producing hemp legally. So some people were saying, oh, it's a conspiracy. They're trying to prevent medical cannabis from being legalized because they all have financial interests. And yeah, to a certain degree, they do have financial interests, but that's the
doesn't
way
make it a
capitalism
whole, like,
works.
we're grouping
We're
together.
grouping together, or there's some secret agenda to down the little person, or there's some secret hatred for cannabis, or whatever the case may be. And then that led to another actual conspiracy. Well, there's people in the political world that already produce cannabis illegally, so they're trying to prevent legal cannabis because it's going to put them out of business. It got built up.
Like, so different types.
It got to a conspiracy on top of a conspiracy. That's
And
like,
then the thing is, you
hold
can
on.
turn it around on anyone. Like, I don't want to pick on Candace because I really still like her.
Okay.
I just don't understand right now.
I don't either, and I don't want to go too far in the weeds. I think
and I'm
we
not
actually
going
both
to,
agree.
but let me just say,
on
it's
this.
like somebody can just say, well, Candace, I think you did something to Charlie, and that's why you're going so hard and trying to find, you know,
Yeah, you're
anybody
trying to
can-
frame somebody else, so
yeah,
I'm not the one.
Like anyone can create something, but I do want to say one thing. In Colossians, I want to read what it says. It says, "See to it that no one takes you captive through hollow and empty philosophy, which depends on human tradition and the elemental spirit forces of this world rather than Christ." People might hear that and be like, well, that's an oxymoron. So you're saying don't go into this
No, it
conspiracy
makes
theory
sense.
so you can go into this conspiracy theory. But at the end of the day, like, no, it's not an oxymoron, because like Christianity is free think, and it is free think. It is not a cult, and anybody that thinks it is, that's because they probably like have run up on some fundamentalist Christians that threw the Bible at their head.
Yeah, or it could be Christian
you
cults.
know?
I mean,
but
there are
even
those
Christian what?
cults.
Oh yeah, or let's just call them cults.
Yeah,
not
let's
even
just say
Christian.
cults.
But you know, even Scripture says, "See to it that you don't." No one takes you, that no person takes you captive, you know? And it's like captive is someone that takes control and possession of your mind. And
Yeah, your
that's the
thought
most important
processes,
thing. Like
your discernment.
yeah.
Your how do you find something that's
Yeah.
reasonable, logical,
I think it's so important for
hopefully
us.
provable, and not just something that's ambiguous and something that's not foundationally solid.
Exactly. Well, and then Scripture also says, test the spirits. I think that we all need to like be able to listen to people's strong opinions and not feel like this is part of it. You're the only one who's like didn't hear the news, like
Right.
Oh, everyone's in on this and like we're all agreeing to this. No, we're not all agreeing to this. Everyone needs to use their own mind
Right.
and critique things and assess things and not just like go with the flow, because but you know, that's when it can get really scary, because there are really strong, very intelligent like personalities, YouTubers. Like YouTube is dominating like the way that people are receiving their information.
Twitter is too, though.
And there are, and social media, and there are like extremely intelligent people that are speaking and have huge platforms on all sides, you know. So we just need to be careful, like I'm not gonna be taken captive by any thought, any
lot of
person.
propaganda.
Well,
out
and
there.
then some people are not even doing it for the sake of trying to prove a conspiracy theory true. They're just doing it to get followers and and media content and capitalize off of something because they know it'll go viral.
But then
not necessarily because they even believe it.
I know, and then they're riling up a whole group of people that are like, yeah, but y'all are getting paid, but this person is getting paid. Like,
they're going to their PayPal account like, what's my balance
you're
this
over
week?
here taking to the streets protesting or doing whatever, fighting with your family, and like
Exactly.
they're over here making money.
Exactly.
So like, be smart about
What was that Colossians verse? I just want to write that down.
I didn't write it down. I can look it up, but it's in Colossians. Huh?
Okay, I'll get it from you later.
Okay.
We gotta wrap up
picture
here.
of it and do a Google Lens, and it'll take you to it.
Okay.
True.
I'll wrap up
Google
with one more helpful tip, and it's just, I'm sure you've heard it before, Occam's razor, which is just a philosophical heuristic.
I literally was just talking to.
The most likely theory is probably the one. That's all.
It's usually phrased as like the simplest explanation, but the more technical definition, which is relevant to conspiracy theories, is the explanation requiring the least amount of assumptions.
I like that better.
I like that too.
That's
I like that
actually
way better.
That's the more technical.
Is that Occam's theory revised by Chris?
No. I think that's
2.0.
actually.
I like it.
Is that the actual technical
I think
definition?
if I recall correctly, that is the technical definition, but we usually just say it as the simplest explanation is usually.
Yeah.
I like that.
I do like it.
When you have to, that's how you can identify these conspiracy theories. If it requires a lot of assumption,
your whole argument
then it's
over
like,
here,
all right.
like it's like
it's like you start to lose me
just
after a
build
while.
Yeah, because then you start leaving
But-
the arena of logic at that point.
you're creating.
Well, it's literally theory.
Yeah.
Conspiracy theory. At that point, you're in the realm of theory, and it's just like, I was formerly trained in hard sciences. We don't really do too much theory. It's all what can be.
There's some there are some
I thought
theory.
science is all theory.
There's
Science is
some
like
a
the
lot of
theory
it's theory.
evolution, the theory apart from the
Big
laws
Bang
of
theory,
nature.
Big
I'm
Bang
sorry,
theory.
I
Bang
meant
theory.
mathematics and
Oh,
physics.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I was talking about. Yeah, we don't say, oh, this is actually. I mean, if you really want to go and get technical and get deep, yes, you could say quantum mechanics is theoretical. But
It is. We've talked.
is.
We actually
It
talked.
is.
We've actually
It
talked
is.
about
it's
that
good.
in the first
It's good
episode.
enough. It's good enough, and we don't have
Until
time
we
to go
come
into
up
that
with
today.
something better.
Until something else better explains.
Yeah.
But
It
yeah.
is theory. It's
But,
good
all right.
theory, maybe.
Guys, I do have to run, so let's wrap this up. Do y'all have any closing thoughts on conspiracy?
No, I
theories?
think we kind of covered. I'm glad we were able to talk about it in a more general sense, and we didn't get down the rabbit hole of like one particular conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
And if we ever get big or anything, Candace, I love you, girl. I just had to use you because right now I'm watching every episode. I'm control, but you
Oh
know
my
some
God.
things I'm just confused about.
I mean, I
but-
guess I can close it on a quick question, which I thought about proposing at the beginning. Have any of you all ever believed in a conspiracy theory that you now are like,
No.
no?
No,
I don't.
no, absolutely
time.
not.
I'm sure.
I've
I'm
always
sure I could
been
find
very
something,
confused
but-
by them, and like I felt like I've been like lacking in that part, like that I haven't.
Like maybe you should have believed in some
that
that.
I should have been more. Yes, but
Okay.
like no,
I've
absolutely
humored them.
not.
I've humored them, and that's. I can't think of any that actually.
I've tried to
wholeheartedly
make
believed it.
myself
Yeah.
feel like maybe we should believe me, like we. Who's we? I don't have multiple, but I can't even make it happen.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
Yeah, I know in the 90s I believed in some, and
Yeah.
and then I just, like I said, once I did more research and did more extensive work on, I like his definitions.
I
Stop
love
believing in things
it
that
was
took
just-
multiple assumptions to actually be
The-
valid. It was
yeah.
like, no, it's not making
It's
sense.
too much.
It's
Yeah.
too much.
Yeah.
Cool, that's it.
All right, guys. Well, we'll see y'all next time. I don't know when that'll be, but yeah, just hit like, hit subscribe. So,
Let's
all
do
right.
it.